Friends, if you want to watch the super hit movie K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 in English, then you must like this video. If you are visiting our channel for the first time, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Friends, in today's video, the movie we are going to talk about is called K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025. This movie has been creating a lot of buzz in the entertainment world, and there are many interesting things about it that fans of action, fantasy, and music will love to know. In this video, I will guide you through what this movie is all about, where you can watch it, and the important facts related to its making and release. We will also look into the technical departments that played a crucial role in its production, including music choreography, pre-production process, filming details, post-production work, budget considerations, and box office expectations. Apart from this, you will also get a concise story overview so you can have a fair idea of the plot, and a short review highlighting what makes the story stand out. K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 combines the vibrant world of Korean pop music with a dark, thrilling supernatural storyline. It is one of those rare films that attempt to mix the energy of a music-driven theme with the intensity of action and fantasy. The movie follows a group of talented K-pop idols who secretly lead a double life as demon hunters battling dark forces threatening the world. The plot revolves around how their fame on stage collides with their secret missions, and how they must balance the pressure of being celebrities with the danger of their hidden battle against supernatural creatures. Without revealing every detail, the story is filled with action sequences, stunning dance performances, mystical elements, and dramatic twists that keep the audience engaged. The star cast performances are another big highlight of K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025. The film features a mix of popular K-pop idols and experienced actors who bring a unique chemistry to the screen. Each member of the group has their own backstory, unique powers, and personal struggles which are revealed gradually throughout the movie. The performances of the lead idols stand out especially in the intense battle scenes and the emotionally charged moments where they confront their fears and responsibilities. Supporting characters also add depth to the story, some providing comic relief, while others raise the stakes with their mysterious connections to the supernatural events. On the technical side, the pre-production phase was extensive as the filmmakers had to combine two very different genres seamlessly. The choreography team worked hand in hand with the action directors to design performances that could transition naturally into fight scenes without breaking the flow. The filming locations included both large concert stages and dark urban landscapes, which helped create a strong contrast between the glamorous world of K-pop and the eerie environment of the demon realm. The post-production department added a significant layer of visual effects that brought the demons and magical elements to life while ensuring the overall tone remained stylish and visually appealing. Music plays a vital role in this movie as it not only showcases original tracks performed by the cast, but also integrates them into key moments of the story. Some of the songs serve as anthems for their battles, while others express their inner conflicts and relationships. This integration of music into the narrative is one of the features that makes K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 unique and appealing to both fans of K-pop and general moviegoers who enjoy action fantasy films. Regarding the budget and box office expectations, this movie has been promoted as a large-scale production with considerable investment in both its musical and visual components. The budget covered the costs of high-end production design, elaborate sets, costumes, and advanced visual effects. Early box office reports and predictions suggest that it has the potential to perform well not only in South Korea but also in international markets where K-pop has a massive fanbase. In this video, we will explore more about each of these aspects in detail. We will discuss how the cast prepared for their dual roles as performers and demon hunters, how the director balanced music and action to create an engaging experience, and what critics are saying about the movie so far. We will also share a short review of the plot, its pacing, and its strengths and weaknesses based on early reactions. So make sure you watch this video till the end to get everything you need to know about K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, from its story to its star cast performances, behind-the-scenes insights, and overall impact on the entertainment industry. Friends, if you are ready to dive deeper into the world of K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, here is the full story in a concise yet rich summary. The film begins centuries ago when three fierce women sealed away ravenous demons using a ritual song and a shimmering magical barrier called the Han Moon. Their sacrifice became legend, and centuries later that legacy survives in the form of the global K-pop girl group HUNTR, who by day perform on massive stages, and by night reinforce the mystical barrier preventing demons from breaking into the human world. The central members of this group are Rumi, portrayed by Arden, Mira, portrayed by Mei Hong, and Zoey, portrayed by Ji Young Yu. They are guided in secret by their mentor Celine, played by Yoonjin Kim, and managed publicly by the enthusiastic Bobby, portrayed by Ken Jeong. On the opposing side, the charismatic leader of a rival K-pop act called Soja Boys is Jinu, played by Hyo-seop, with the demon king Gwi Ma, embodied by Lee Byung-hun, emerging as a looming threat. In the present day, HUNTR is gearing up to debut a powerful single titled Golden, which is designed to transform the Han Moon into its final hardened state known as the Golden Han Moon. But Rumi begins losing her voice as strange demonic disturbances intensify. Flickers of flashbacks reveal that Rumi is the daughter of a legendary hunter and idol named Rumi Yong who perished under mysterious circumstances. Celine raised Rumi in secrecy. Results of this heritage make Rumi uniquely vulnerable and yet uniquely powerful. As HUNTR travels their world tour, they must juggle stardom and secrecy. Meanwhile, choreography blended with combat training allows their performances to double as both theater and defense platforms. Vibrant concert stages stand in stark visual contrast to dark alleys and demon lairs, weaving a narrative that constantly shifts between glamour and dread. At the same time, Soja Boys start to encroach not only on music charts but also on the spiritual realm. The rivalry deepens when Jinwoo is revealed to be more than a rival idol. He is a demon whose past is tangled with Rumi's own identity. His band's songs feed corrupt energies that weaken rather than strengthen the Han Moon. The emotional arcs of the three members deepen as the story unfolds. Rumi confronts the shame of her lineage and the weight of her legacy. Mira grapples with family expectations and the longing for safety versus sacrifice. Zoey faces pressure as the youngest but also courage beyond her years. Celine stands as both tough guardian and loving parent, teaching them that their true power lies in honest, vulnerable music rather than glitzy spectacle. At the narrative midpoint, a major set piece unfolds as a live concert which transforms into a battle scene as choreography becomes combat. The girls must perform a ritual chorus while fending off demonic emissaries. These sequences crystallize the core theme that performance and protection are two sides of the same coin. Rumi's personal journey serves as the emotional center. Through her struggle to hold a critical note that will convert the Han Moon to its golden form, she confronts internalized shame, obsession, and enforced identities. The demons come to represent internal demons of the psyche, and the final song becomes both a confession and an affirmation that identity and truth can be a weapon. In the climactic finale, HUNTR and their allies stage a live performance intended to complete the Golden Han Moon. But the plan goes awry when the enemy exploits Rumi's faltering voice, forcing the group to improvise in the moment. They rally around each other, finding new harmonies born of trust and acceptance rather than perfection. The confrontation between Rumi and Jinwoo culminates in a moment of mutual recognition that reframes their conflict not simply as good versus evil, but as different forms of loneliness seeking connection. The film resolves with the Han Moon reinforced, the demons defeated or driven back, and the heroines claiming a hard-won peace. It is bittersweet because victory required confronting hard truths and painful losses, but they emerge stronger, bonded by music and sacrifice. The story highlights how each song performed by the cast carries narrative weight. Some tracks drive battle sequences, others mark emotional turning points, weaving sound and story into a unified emotional tapestry. Ultimately, KPop Demon Hunters 2025 is an emotionally textured urban fantasy that uses K-pop performance as both spectacle and salvation. It explores themes of identity, friendship, found family, and the double-edged sword of fame. With action choreography that doubles as choreography for real battles, dynamic visuals contrasting light and dark worlds, and a story rooted in acceptance and connection, it delivers a unique and resonant experience for fans of music-driven fantasy and action alike. K-pop Demon Hunters 2025 opens with a striking prologue set centuries in the past, where three women wielding music as a weapon seal away a horde of demons using a ritual known as the Han Moon. This opening image establishes the stakes and the mystical heritage that will echo into the modern era. The film then cuts to present-day Seoul, where the world-famous K-pop girl group HUNTR is finishing a major world tour. From the outset, the story sets up a contrast between their glamorous public image and their hidden role as guardians of the barrier that keeps the demonic realm at bay. Rumi, played by Arden, is introduced as the main protagonist, a charismatic performer struggling with a recurring throat strain that hints at deeper problems. Mira, played by Mei Hong, and Zoey, played by Ji Young-yu, round out the trio, each with their own quirks and tensions. The inciting incident comes when a rehearsal for their new single Golden is disrupted by a sudden surge of dark energy that causes stage equipment to malfunction and briefly manifests a creature only they can see. Their mentor Celine, played by Yoonjin Kim, warns them that the Han Moon is cracking and that the song they are about to release is more than a catchy track, it is the final key to locking the barrier permanently. From this point, the rising action begins. HUNTR juggles the pressure of their upcoming debut with the responsibility of being demon hunters. Their rival group Soja Boys, led by Jinwoo, played by Hyo-seop, enters the story as both chart competitors and mysterious figures connected to the surge in demonic activity. Jinwoo is charismatic on stage, but hints of something darker appear as his band's music seems to feed unrest among fans. The narrative gradually reveals that Jinwoo is not entirely human, but a half-demon torn between two worlds. Rumi's voice falters again during a high-stakes live recording session, leading to whispers in the industry and increasing tension within the group. These early beats lay the groundwork for the first major turning point, where Rumi discovers she is the daughter of a legendary hunter, Ryu Young, and that her bloodline carries both great power and a curse that the demons wish to exploit. The middle section of the film escalates with training montages woven into concert rehearsals. Here the film uses its musical structure to hide action sequences in plain sight. The group travels to different cities, and each stop exposes them to a new manifestation of the demonic threat. At the midpoint, a pivotal concert in Tokyo turns into a spectacular battle when a full-fledged demon breaches the Han Moon during a live broadcast. The choreography seamlessly shifts from dance to combat, and the group must improvise a ritual song to contain the threat. This scene serves as a midpoint climax, raising both public suspicion and personal stakes. After this moment, Rumi begins to question whether sealing the barrier permanently is the right choice, or whether it will cost them their individuality and voices. The second half of the narrative deals with betrayal and revelation. It is revealed that Jinwoo's band has been manipulated by the Demon King Gwi Ma, played by Lee Byung-hun, and that Jinwoo himself is conflicted about his role. Mira considers leaving the group to protect her family, while Zoey takes on more responsibility than her age suggests. Celine becomes increasingly secretive about the original ritual and the cost it demanded. The film uses flashbacks sparingly, showing Rumi's childhood memories with her mother and the moment when the original hunters fell. These non-linear glimpses add emotional weight and gradually explain why Rumi's voice is both a weapon and a weakness. The climax builds toward the planned premiere of Golden at a massive stadium event broadcast worldwide. The plan is to perform the song as a final seal, creating the Golden Han Moon. But during the performance, Gwi Ma attacks, using the global broadcast as a conduit. Rumi loses her voice entirely for a moment, leaving the barrier exposed. The group is forced to improvise, blending fragments of old melodies with a new song, creating an unexpected harmony that draws in Jinwoo, who finally turns against the Demon King. The final confrontation mixes music battle and emotional reckoning as Rumi confronts the legacy of secrecy and chooses to reveal the truth to her fans using her real voice rather than the manufactured one. The film ends with the demons repel the Han Moon reinforced, and the group standing on a darkened stage as the crowd roars, unaware of the true battle they just witnessed. Rumi's voice is changed forever, not as pristine as before but stronger in its authenticity. Mira and Zoey find new confidence, and Celine steps back, allowing them to lead. The final beat is a quiet moment backstage where the three share a promise that their music will continue not just as a product, but as a force that connects and protects. The narrative closes the loop by echoing the opening ritual, but with a modern twist, suggesting that the battle between light and darkness is ongoing yet no longer hidden in shame. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 begins by presenting its central trio as polished performers at the peak of their career, but beneath the glamorous surface each carries a hidden burden that shapes their arc across the film. Rumi, played by Arden, is the clear protagonist. At the start she is charismatic and admired, but internally she is insecure about her fading voice and the pressure of living up to a lineage she does not fully understand. Her want is to maintain her status as a star and protect the group from scandal, but what she needs is to embrace her heritage and use her true voice even if it risks vulnerability. Early on, her gestures of avoidance, such as quietly canceling vocal practice or deflecting concern with a rehearsed smile, show how denial guides her. The inciting incident forces her to confront the cracks in her carefully managed image. Through subtle beats like the way she clutches her throat before a rehearsal or the silent pause before revealing her family history, the film builds her as someone torn between duty and fear. By the finale, her arc reaches fulfillment when she sings despite the risk, accepting imperfection as strength. The moment she steps forward during the climactic concert without the backing track marks the true transformation from performer to protector. Mira, played by Mei Hong, begins as the pragmatic one of the group, often acting as the voice of reason and caution. Her want is stability, and her initial stance is to avoid unnecessary risk. The demons represent to her not just a supernatural threat, but a potential end to the normal life she has worked for. A small scene where she video calls her family and hides the truth about the group's secret missions reveals her inner conflict. Over the course of the film, her arc is less about overt heroism and more about choosing commitment over comfort. She decides to stay with the group even when it would be safer to leave, and her calm presence becomes an anchor in the chaotic final act. A key gesture that signals this change is when she steps between Rumi and a demon during the Tokyo battle despite her earlier insistence on caution. Her development is understated but meaningful because it turns her from an observer into an active participant in their shared destiny. Zoey, played by Ji Young-yu, serves as the youngest and most openly passionate member. At first she is eager to prove herself but often dismissed as inexperienced. Her want is recognition, and her obstacle is the tendency of others to shield her from danger. Throughout the story, small rebellious acts such as sneaking into training sessions or taking extra shifts to monitor demonic energy show her determination. Her biggest moment of growth comes when she is given responsibility during the climactic performance and does not falter. The way she locks eyes with Rumi before joining the final harmony illustrates that her arc is about stepping out of the shadow of protection and becoming a pillar of the group. By the end, she is no longer treated as the junior member, but as an equal voice in their mission. Celine, played by Yoonjin Kim, is the mentor figure whose arc is one of relinquishing control. In the beginning, she is strict and secretive, burdened by the memory of the original hunters and the promise she made to protect their legacy. Her want is to keep the girls safe even at the cost of honesty, and this secrecy becomes an obstacle. Scenes where she withholds information or redirects their questions build a tension that pays off when she finally confesses the full truth about Rumi's heritage. A telling moment is when she hands over the ritual notes to Rumi before the final performance, symbolizing her trust and acceptance that the next generation must lead. Jinwoo, played by Hyo-seop, operates as both rival and antagonist. He starts as a confident leader of Soja boys, masking his inner turmoil. His want is to break free from the Demon King Gwi, played by Lee Byung-hun, but he believes the only path is domination through music that feeds chaos. His gestures of hesitation, such as holding back during certain attacks or sharing a silent stare with Rumi, hint at his dual nature. His arc bends toward redemption as he chooses to assist the protagonists at a critical moment. This turn is not portrayed as complete absolution, but as the first step in rejecting the manipulation that has defined him. Side characters like Bobby the manager, portrayed by Ken Jeong, provide comic relief but also play a role in grounding the group in their public persona, showing the contrast between their everyday schedules and their secret war. His frantic attempts to keep the tour running while strange incidents mount give the story texture and stakes. The Demon King Gwi serves less as a complex individual and more as a manifestation of the corrupting force that preys on fear and silence, acting as a narrative wall against which the characters test their growth. By the end of the film, each of the main characters has shifted in a way that feels earned. Rumi learns authenticity over perfection, Mira chooses courage over safety, Zoey gains respect through action, Celine lets go of control, and Jinwoo finds a fragile sense of agency. These arcs intertwine during the final performance where their harmonies are more than a song, they are a reflection of bonds tested and strengthened. The subtle beats, a glance before a leap into battle, a shared note held longer than scripted, a whispered truth backstage, all reveal the film's commitment to character over mere spectacle. The narrative leaves them with scars but also with a deeper connection to themselves and each other. In K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, the acting is anchored by performances that range from deeply immersive to occasionally uneven depending on the tonal demands of mixing a supernatural fantasy with pop spectacle. Arden Cho as Rumi disappears most completely into her role. From the first moment she takes the stage, she embodies confidence and star power, and then layers in vulnerability with subtle shifts in posture and expression. In scenes where Rumi's voice falters, you see micro-expressions of panic and shame, a quiver of the hand at the throat or a controlled exhale before stepping into frame. When she finally sings without pretense during the climactic concert, you feel the weight of her journey as an unvarnished triumph rather than a scripted moment. Her emotional precision and vocal control elevate the stakes and convince us she carries both the group's burden and its salvation. Mei Hong as Mira delivers steady groundedness with few but precisely calibrated gestures. She is at her best in quieter moments, such as when she observes Rumi alone in her dressing room and offers a line about balance in a calm tone that cuts through the tension. The simplicity of her delivery and her soft gaze give these scenes real emotional gravity. Her action-leaning choreography feels purposeful but never showy, mirroring her cautious pragmatism. The scene where she steps in front of a demon mid-battle to protect Zoey uses her physical stillness to heighten the moment. Rather than flinch, she stands firm, and that speaks volumes about how performance choices can undercut dialogue and keep us tethered to character rather than spectacle. Ji Young-yu as Zoey brings an open sincerity that feels fresh in the high-stakes universe of the film. Her eagerness registers in the tilt of her head when she trains harder than expected or in her playful attempt to initiate a group warm-up amid tension. A standout moment is when she catches Rumi's eye during the final harmony sequence and doesn't break contact. That look alone sells the unspoken trust they have built. Her voice breaks slightly in one emotional speech where she admits she fears being replaced by stronger members. That imperfection resonates more than polished bravado would have. That vulnerability anchors her arc in authenticity and invites audience empathy. Yeonjun Kim as Celine anchors the maternal mentor with subtle authority. Her lines carry weight not by volume but by calm assurance. A scene where she reviews ritual notes while barely looking up and then reveals a painful piece of hidden history is carried on the inflection of her voice rather than dramatic gesture. She could have played that as an expositional moment, but instead she makes it feel intimate and necessary. Her controlled pauses before sharing hard truths convey regret, love and responsibility in a way that reinforces how voice and timing alone can sell layered performance beneath supernatural melodrama. On Hyo-seop as Jinwoo walks a delicate line between villainy and desperation. Early on he is magnetic on stage, owning every beat, but a flicker of doubt appears in small eye movements and faltering smiles when he is backstage. His best moment comes when he catches sight of Rumi and his confident posture briefly collapses. In that pause you sense the battle between his programmed ambition and his hidden empathy. The monologue he gives when deciding whether to help HUNTR reads loud on the page but is nuanced in delivery. He lets words trail off, gives himself space before finishing, and that space is what transforms the speech from exposition into a moment of self-recognition. It is that restraint that defines his shift from antagonist to uneasy ally. Ken Jeong as Bobby plays for affable energy, using rapid hand gestures and rising pitch to perfunctorily maintain the tour schedule. Most of his scenes are fun, but he hits high gear in one beat when an alarmed reporter shows up mid-battle. He slams clipboard against door with chaotic timing, and in that moment reveals how the pressure of secrecy strips away his comedic veneer. It is the only time humor slips and fear steps in that you recognize him as more than caricature and as someone who bears real responsibility. Lee Byung-hun as GWI Ma is always more imposing energy than inner character. His physics-bending presence and deep resonance hit the necessary villain note, but his motivations remain abstract and delivered in broad brush strokes. A transcendent actor in other contexts, this role seems constrained by the supernatural archetype it represents. He towers physically but never quite evokes empathy or menace beyond surface level. A more nuanced performance could have elevated the theme of internalized demon, but instead his scenes act as narrative wall rather than emotional mirror. Supporting dancers and ensemble deserve mention for carrying the weight of the concert sequences with infectious energy. Their precision in seamless transitions from pop choreography into fight formations gives these scenes kinetic power. One backup dancer who steps forward to block a demon during a drum break holds her line just long enough for Rumi to catch up and sing. That flash of solidarity sells how the entire group functions as more than props. These dancers may not have names in the credits, but their bodies and timing are critical. Not all performances land equally. In some large group interview scenes the polished promotional veneer feels too staged. Timing is stiff and delivery generic, reminding us it may have been better to cut those scenes or film them in a handheld more kinetic style to keep pace. The emotional guts of the story reside in the private training rooms, not on these TV spots, so those interviews occasionally feel like padding rather than narrative weight. Overall the cast succeeds because individual choices in timing, physicality, and vocal tone create characters that feel lived in even when veiled by spectacle. Arden Cho disappears into her dual roles of idol and hunter. Mei Hong holds us steady with grounded understatement. Ji Young Yu wins us with sincerity. Yeonjun Kim's restraint brings depth to mentorship. On Hyo-seop's shaded performance hints at redemption. Ken Jeong delivers embodied nervous energy that flips into dread when needed. Even when a scene slips into stiffness, the strong performances elsewhere keep the emotional engine running. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 is elevated not only by its genre-bending concept, but by actors willing to invest in moments between notes, gestures between notes, breaths between beats. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 is shaped decisively by the director's vision, which balances the high energy of K-pop spectacle with the suspense and tension of a supernatural fantasy. From the opening prologue, the director establishes tone through lighting and camera movement. The centuries-old ritual that seals the demons is presented in sweeping long shots that emphasize scale and gravitas, contrasting sharply with the frenetic, handheld coverage of present-day Seoul concerts. This juxtaposition immediately tells the audience that the film is navigating multiple worlds and timelines while maintaining narrative cohesion. Early choices in framing and pacing convey the duality of the protagonists' lives, showing them simultaneously performing for fans and preparing for supernatural confrontation. Pacing is a key element of the direction. The film alternates between high-intensity sequences and quieter character moments. Concert scenes are shot with rapid cuts and wide framing to capture both choreography and the kinetic energy of the crowd. Action sequences use a combination of medium tracking shots and quick insert cuts to maintain clarity despite complex choreography that integrates music and martial arts. The director's ability to maintain rhythm in these sequences ensures that the audience is never disoriented, even as the narrative juggles multiple threats. Scenes of internal struggle or conversation, in contrast, are given more static framing and longer takes, allowing performances by Arden Cho, Mei Hong, and Ji Young-yu to register fully. Close-ups on hands clutching microphones or eyes scanning the stage highlight subtle beats and internal tension, demonstrating a directorial preference for visual storytelling alongside dialogue. Stylistic signatures emerge clearly in the treatment of music as narrative device. The director stages rehearsal and performance sequences to serve dual purposes. They advance character development and act as mechanisms for plot progression. Camera movement often mirrors the rhythm of the music, sweeping across the stage or pivoting with a dancer's turn. During moments where the Han-moon barrier is under threat, the director employs low-angle shots and atmospheric close-ups on the protagonists' faces, heightening tension and providing visual metaphors for the weight of responsibility. Lighting choices reinforce these moments, with stark contrasts between bright concert lights and shadowed alleys emphasizing the collision of two worlds. These deliberate choices communicate urgency without relying on expository dialogue. The director also uses time creatively. Flashbacks are integrated sparingly with subtle visual cues, slightly desaturated color palettes, blurred edges, or a soft focus that separates past from present. This allows the audience to piece together Rumi's lineage and the history of the original Demon Hunters without halting the forward momentum of the plot. The film rarely relies on linear exposition. Instead, the timing of information reveals is deliberate, creating suspense and deepening emotional investment. Key turning points, such as Rumi discovering her heritage or Jinu's conflicted allegiance, are staged to maximize both surprise and resonance, reflecting confident control over narrative rhythm. Directorial control is evident in the coordination of actors and dancers. Choreographed sequences that merge dance and combat require precise blocking, timing, and camera coverage. The director guides performers to balance athleticism with emotional authenticity, ensuring that musical gestures convey plot and character intent. In quieter moments, the guidance is subtler, allowing pauses, glances, or micro-expressions to carry weight. This demonstrates a nuanced understanding of when restraint serves the story better than overt dramatization. Some directorial decisions are more debatable. Certain large group interview scenes feel slightly staged, interrupting the immersive flow established in earlier sequences. While intended to ground the narrative in the celebrity world of the protagonists, the pacing and framing in these moments can feel rigid, contrasting with the otherwise dynamic style of the film. However, these instances are minor and do not detract significantly from the overall vision. The climax exemplifies the director's command. The live performance designed to seal the Golden Han Moon is staged across multiple layers: foreground choreography, midground action against demonic forces, and background crowd reactions. Smooth tracking shots weave these layers together while maintaining focus on Rumi's emotional arc. Sudden cuts punctuate moments of danger without sacrificing visual clarity. Close-ups interspersed with wide shots create a rhythm that mirrors musical crescendos, reinforcing the connection between sound and narrative tension. Ultimately, the director of KPop Demon Hunters 2025 asserts control over tone, style, and pacing with a clear eye on both spectacle and character. The film succeeds because every camera movement, framing choice, and sequence of cuts is motivated by story and emotional resonance. Visual flourishes are never gratuitous, and moments of restraint allow the audience to breathe and connect with characters. The direction demonstrates that blending genres, K-pop idol performance with urban fantasy action, requires confidence, precision, and a willingness to trust performers while keeping a firm hand on visual storytelling. The result is a cohesive cinematic experience that thrills, engages, and emotionally satisfies, cementing the director's role as the architect of the film's unique identity. The cinematography in K-pop Demon Hunters 2025 is a central storytelling tool, guiding the audience through both the dazzling world of K-pop performance and the shadowed supernatural underworld. From the opening sequence, the director and director of photography use wide framing and sweeping camera movement to establish scale. The centuries-old ritual is captured in expansive shots that emphasize the enormity of the barrier and the stakes of the original Demon Hunter's sacrifice. These wide frames give a sense of grandeur and context, contrasting sharply with the tighter framing used for the modern-day protagonists, which conveys intimacy and highlights personal stakes. The choice of lensing allows audiences to feel both the epic and the individual simultaneously. Lighting is employed with careful intention. Concert stages are lit with vibrant, saturated colors that convey excitement and spectacle, reflecting the public persona of HUNTRs. In contrast, demonic incursions are often presented with muted tones, deep shadows, and occasional strobing to unsettle the viewer and heighten tension. This juxtaposition between brightness and darkness visually reinforces the dual lives of the characters. The use of colored gels, subtle backlighting, and practical lights embedded within the sets adds dimension and texture, making even the most fantastical moments feel tangible. Highlights on faces during quiet character beats accentuate emotional nuance, while shadowed angles during conflict suggest internal and external threats. Camera movement is another critical component. Tracking shots are frequently used during performances to follow choreography, creating fluidity that mirrors the rhythm of the music. During action sequences, handheld cameras provide a sense of immediacy, immersing viewers in combat and supernatural confrontations. Slow-motion shots are used sparingly but effectively, often to emphasize dramatic beats or the impact of critical moves during battle sequences. The combination of Steadicam, crane shots, and occasional aerial coverage ensures that scale and intimacy coexist seamlessly. Rapid cuts punctuate moments of high tension, while longer takes allow for emotional resonance and focus on actors' expressions, making cinematography essential rather than decorative. Color palettes shift according to narrative context. Concert sequences favor high contrast with jewel-toned costumes and neon stage lighting, reflecting exuberance and energy. In contrast, alleyways, training rooms, and locations of demonic activity are tinted with cooler blues, desaturated greens, or warm shadowed ambers to suggest danger, secrecy, or introspection. These deliberate shifts cue the audience to emotional tone and signal transitions in story world without relying solely on dialogue. For example, when Rumi confronts the crisis of her voice, the muted palette combined with a soft spotlight isolates her in frame, visually conveying vulnerability and pressure. Framing choices reinforce character and theme. Tight close-ups highlight emotional beats, eyes glancing away, fingers tightening around microphones, or micro-expressions of fear or determination. Wide shots demonstrate relationships between characters and space, such as ensemble choreography sequences where the spatial dynamics reflect hierarchy, unity, and coordination. In action sequences, the cinematography integrates foreground and background elements to ensure clarity while retaining dynamic movement. Layering characters and environmental elements within a frame communicates depth both physically and narratively. Standout shots include the Tokyo concert where a demon breach occurs mid-performance. The camera weaves between performers, demonic forms, and crowd reactions, maintaining visual clarity while creating tension. Another memorable sequence is the rooftop confrontation where low-angle shots accentuate the imposing figure of GWI Ma while backlighting creates a halo effect that simultaneously glamorizes and intimidates. These moments linger visually, balancing spectacle with narrative purpose. Overall, cinematography in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 is deliberate, narratively essential, and emotionally resonant. Choices in framing, movement, lighting, and color palette are consistently tied to character, story, and tone. Whether emphasizing intimacy, scale, or tension, the visual language ensures that the audience experiences both the excitement of K-pop and the gravity of the supernatural threats in a cohesive and memorable way. The editing in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance between high-energy K-pop performance sequences and the suspense of supernatural conflict. From the opening prologue, transitions are smooth and purposeful, establishing the historical context without disrupting the narrative flow. Long establishing shots are cut to closer angles to provide clarity and draw attention to detail, guiding the audience from the grandeur of the original ritual to the modern-day stakes in Seoul. This early rhythm sets expectations for a film that moves fluidly between spectacle and intimate character moments. Montages are employed strategically to propel momentum, particularly during training sequences where the girls practice choreography alongside combat drills. Rapid cuts interspersed with tracking shots compress time effectively, showing progression and skill acquisition without slowing narrative pace. These montages are accompanied by diegetic sound of music and footsteps that sync with the cuts, reinforcing energy and cohesion. In contrast, quieter character beats are given longer takes with minimal cutting to allow performances to breathe. Close-ups linger on expressions, gestures, or micro-reactions, emphasizing internal struggle and emotional weight. The editor demonstrates restraint, trusting the audience to absorb nuance without constant visual stimulation. Flashbacks are used sparingly but effectively. When Rumi recalls her mother Ryu-mi-young or the sacrifices of the original hunters, the transitions employ subtle visual cues such as desaturated color, soft focus, or a slight blur at frame edges. Cross-cutting between past and present deepens understanding of lineage and stakes while maintaining clarity. These moments also heighten suspense, particularly when information about the Han-moon ritual is revealed incrementally. Timing is critical. A pause in the modern scene before cutting to a flashback allows viewers to anticipate emotional connections, increasing engagement with character arcs. Pacing across acts is deliberate. The first act establishes world and characters with moderate rhythm, giving audiences space to understand dual identities and personal stakes. The second act accelerates with consecutive performance sequences, demon attacks, and rival confrontations. Cuts are quicker, action sequences interlace choreography and combat, and camera movement is complemented by fast-paced editing to create urgency. This acceleration mirrors the rising tension and stakes, keeping viewers engaged. The third act modulates pace again, allowing longer takes during emotional climaxes, particularly in the final concert where the Golden Han-moon ritual is performed. The editor slows the rhythm to highlight performances, gestures, and interactions that carry emotional weight. Certain editing choices amplify emotional impact. During the Tokyo concert Demon Breach, cross-cutting between performers, demons, and audience reactions heightens tension and clarifies spatial relationships despite multiple moving elements. Moments of silence or near stillness between cuts underscore vulnerability, such as when Rumi hesitates to sing or Zoey locks eyes with her during a critical beat. These choices allow emotional resonance to linger rather than be lost in rapid action. Conversely, a few promotional sequences or interview inserts occasionally disrupt flow. Their timing feels slightly abrupt relative to the kinetic momentum of surrounding scenes, but they are minor and do not significantly undermine the overall rhythm. The editor also uses match cuts and visual echoes to maintain thematic coherence. Repeated gestures, such as gripping microphones or adjusting costumes, connect character moments to broader motifs of performance, responsibility, and dual identity. The rhythm of dialogue editing ensures clarity even when multiple storylines converge, such as conflicts with Jinwoo and GWI Ma. Strategic use of reaction shots, particularly in ensemble sequences, emphasizes teamwork and trust while maintaining spatial clarity for audiences navigating complex choreography and supernatural events. Overall, the editing in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 succeeds in blending spectacle, suspense, and character development. Smooth transitions, effective montages, thoughtful flashbacks, and dynamic pacing create a cohesive narrative that moves audiences emotionally and visually. The editor balances rapid-fire action with quiet, introspective moments, ensuring clarity and impact. Moments where rhythm could be tightened are few, and overall, editing amplifies both tension and emotional depth, making it an essential element in the film's immersive and entertaining experience. In K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, music functions as a narrative engine as well as an emotional amplifier. From the outset, the soundtrack establishes a tonal duality between the glamorous world of K-pop and the ominous supernatural threats. Concert sequences feature high-energy pop tracks with pulsating beats and layered vocals that not only entertain but also underscore the protagonist's confidence and cohesion as a group. These numbers are carefully choreographed so that musical accents align with camera movement, creating a synergy between sound and image. The score complements this by using recurring motifs that signal thematic elements, such as a subtle ethereal chime associated with the Han-moon ritual, which threads through both prologue and climactic sequences to unify the narrative sonically. Character themes are articulated through both score and sound design. Rumi's presence is often highlighted by a blend of vocal and instrumental motifs, with piano or string flourishes underscoring moments of vulnerability and solo performance. Mira's cues are subtler, using low-register synths or steady percussion that mirror her grounded and cautious personality. Zoey is accompanied by bright percussive elements or high-pitched melodic lines that evoke curiosity and youthful determination. These motifs recur in pivotal moments, reinforcing character development without relying on dialogue. When Rumi finally embraces her heritage, her motif evolves, layering richer harmonics and rhythmic variation, signaling transformation and emotional fulfillment. The film also employs music to manipulate tension. During demon encounters, the score shifts to minor keys and irregular rhythms, often incorporating distorted electronic textures that contrast sharply with the polished pop songs. Rapid staccato percussion and sharp crescendos punctuate action beats, enhancing urgency and danger. Silence is used strategically, particularly in scenes of hesitation or decision, where absence of sound allows audience focus to settle on facial expressions, body language, or environmental cues. This restraint magnifies emotional impact, making eventual musical entries more striking and cathartic. Licensed pop tracks are woven seamlessly with original compositions, giving the film a contemporary urban feel while maintaining narrative cohesion. Songs are positioned not just as background but as diegetic elements, performed by the characters in rehearsals and concerts. The director and sound team synchronize audio with choreography so that musical accents coincide with movement, weapon strikes, or ritual gestures, making the music integral to both storytelling and spectacle. In the climactic Golden Hanmoon performance, music and score merge flawlessly, with layered harmonies, percussion, and ambient motifs supporting both the action and emotional arcs simultaneously. This scene exemplifies how sound design elevates narrative stakes and audience immersion. Moments of scoring brilliance include transitions between concert energy and supernatural tension, where sudden shifts in instrumentation cue impending danger without visual exposition. A low rumble paired with a high chime signals demonic presence in a way that becomes intuitive for the viewer. Conversely, there are instances where music slightly overplays its hand, such as during minor confrontation sequences where orchestral swells feel excessive against otherwise intimate visuals. These moments are infrequent and do not detract from the overall effectiveness of the soundtrack. Sound effects complement music with precision. Ambient sounds in rehearsal rooms, city streets, and supernatural locations are layered to provide spatial depth. Subtle audio cues like the hum of stage lights, whispered echoes, or distorted environmental noise enhance immersion and maintain tension across sequences. The integration of Foley, score, and diegetic music demonstrates meticulous attention to sonic texture. Overall, the soundtrack and score of KPop Demon Hunters 2025 are indispensable to the film's identity. Music conveys character, heightens tension, and bridges narrative gaps. Recurring motifs anchor emotional beats while strategic silence and diegetic performance ground the fantastical story in relatable experience. From intimate character moments to large-scale concerts and climactic battles, the soundscape transforms scenes from visually compelling to emotionally unforgettable, proving that music is a core character in the film rather than mere accompaniment. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 operates on multiple thematic levels, blending the spectacle of K-pop performance with the existential stakes of supernatural conflict. At its core, the film wrestles with identity and self-realization. Rumi's journey exemplifies this theme as she balances public persona with hidden heritage. Her struggle to reconcile fame with responsibility illustrates the tension between external expectations and internal authenticity. This is communicated not only through dialogue but through visual motifs. Mirrors and reflections are recurrent, often framing Rumi alone during moments of doubt, emphasizing the duality of her life. Costume and lighting further reinforce this identity struggle, contrasting bright stage lights with shadowed alleys, signaling the divide between appearance and reality. Power and responsibility are central themes as well. The group's ability to combat demonic forces represents both literal and metaphorical power. The film consistently explores how authority and influence can be wielded for protection or corrupted by fear. Jinu's initial ambition to dominate mirrors the dangers of unchecked power, while the protagonist's collaborative approach underscores a responsible use of ability rooted in trust and ethical choice. Key action sequences illustrate these ideas visually. Blocking a demon from breaching the barrier or sacrificing personal safety during a performance conveys the weight of responsibility without verbal exposition. Redemption and forgiveness run alongside these themes. Characters such as Jinu navigate morally gray spaces, shifting from antagonist to reluctant ally. His arc demonstrates that redemption requires acknowledgement of past mistakes and courageous action. Visual storytelling reinforces this, such as when he hesitates before intervening to aid Rumi, showing internal conflict. The use of framing, lighting, and music during these moments amplifies the emotional resonance of moral choice and transformation. Similarly, characters like Zoey and Mira confront fears of inadequacy or safety versus duty, with growth communicated through actions and small gestures rather than explicit lines, demonstrating thematic layering. Fear and courage are explored through both narrative and visual cues. Demonic threats function as externalizations of personal insecurities, illustrating how internal fears can manifest in external conflict. Scenes where characters hesitate or falter under pressure juxtaposed with moments of decisive action reinforce the message that courage is a conscious, sometimes painful choice. Cinematography, including tight close-ups on eyes or hands during these moments, amplifies tension and makes the emotional stakes clear, linking thematic content with visual storytelling. Love and interpersonal connection underpin character motivation throughout. Relationships within the group provide emotional grounding and drive decision-making. Trust and loyalty are depicted through coordinated action, shared gestures, and harmonized performances. These moments highlight the power of communal bonds, showing that individual strength is enhanced through cooperation and empathy. Visual motifs such as hand touches, shared glances, and ensemble choreography echo these messages, reinforcing the importance of unity in overcoming adversity. The film also comments on societal pressure and expectation, particularly in the context of celebrity culture. Stage performance versus hidden battles serves as a metaphor for the masks people wear in public life and the personal costs of perfection. This layer of thematic exploration adds depth, connecting supernatural stakes to relatable human experiences. Costumes, lighting, and staged audience shots reinforce the tension between performance and private identity, making thematic expression multidimensional. Overall, KPop Demon Hunters 2025 communicates its themes consistently through character, action, and visual language. Identity, power, redemption, fear, and love intersect in ways that are both explicit and subtle. The film frequently shows rather than tells, using gestures, framing, and music to echo its messages. Occasional mixed signals occur in lighter comedic or promotional sequences, but they do not undermine the central thematic arc. The story leaves audiences reflecting on responsibility, authenticity, and connection, ensuring that beneath its spectacle, the film delivers a coherent and resonant exploration of its core ideas. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 employs a blend of digital visual effects and practical techniques to create a believable integration of supernatural elements into the real world of K-pop performance. The VFX team consistently demonstrates technical skill, with most effects appearing seamless and enhancing the story rather than distracting from it. Demonic manifestations, magical barriers, and energy-based attacks are primarily digital but carefully composited into live-action sequences. The use of motion capture for the movements of the demons allows fluidity and realistic interaction with performers, maintaining spatial and physical credibility in fast-paced action scenes. Practical effects are used in tandem with digital work to anchor sequences in reality. For instance, stage pyrotechnics, smoke, and minor wire work are captured live to create tactile presence. These elements are then enhanced digitally, particularly during sequences where demons breach concert stages. The combination ensures that fantastical visuals maintain weight and dimension, avoiding the flatness that sometimes occurs when relying solely on CGI. This approach reinforces immersion, making supernatural events feel as immediate and tangible as the performers' musical routines. Compositing is especially notable in the Tokyo rooftop confrontation and the Golden Han Moon ritual sequences. Multiple layers, including digital backgrounds, particle simulations, and live-action performers, are integrated with care to maintain continuity of lighting, shadows, and spatial relationships. Camera movement is tracked precisely, ensuring that the effects adhere to perspective and do not appear pasted or inconsistent. The fluid integration of effects allows the audience to focus on the emotional stakes and choreography rather than being distracted by technical inconsistencies. Certain sequences employ heavy digital augmentation to depict energy attacks or magical constructs. These are designed to complement the character's physical movements. For example, when Rumi activates her heritage power, particle effects radiate in sync with her gestures and musical notes, creating a visual echo of her emotional journey. The choreography is coordinated with these effects in pre-visualization, ensuring timing, trajectory, and impact are coherent. These VFX moments enhance narrative clarity, illustrating character abilities and escalating tension without overwhelming the viewer with spectacle. There are minor moments where CGI could feel slightly artificial, particularly in fast cuts or during crowd integration where digital extras are composited. These instances are brief and do not detract significantly from overall engagement, as the film frequently cuts back to close-ups on the main cast and practical stage elements. The overall effect is polished, with digital enhancements serving story and mood rather than existing solely for visual flash. Lighting and texture work on CGI elements is consistently applied to match on-set illumination. Shadows, reflections, and surface interactions are carefully calibrated to blend seamlessly with live-action footage. Particle effects, energy bursts, and magical overlays maintain clarity without appearing noisy, contributing to both visual coherence and narrative understanding. Overall, the visual effects and CGI in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 are effective and supportive of storytelling. They enhance the sense of scale, danger, and spectacle while maintaining immersion. By combining practical effects, motion capture, and meticulous compositing, the film achieves a balance where digital elements feel grounded and purposeful, reinforcing character arcs, plot progression, and thematic resonance. The result is a visually compelling film in which supernatural wonder and musical performance coexist seamlessly. The set design and locations in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 play a critical role in establishing both the glamorous world of K-pop and the shadowed supernatural realm. The production team uses a mix of real locations and studio-built sets to create a cohesive visual environment that feels lived in and authentic. Concert stages, rehearsal rooms, and backstage corridors are meticulously detailed to reflect the demands of a high-profile idol group. Props such as microphones, soundboards, costumes, and personal items contribute to the believability of the performers' lives, signaling status, personality, and group dynamics without relying on exposition. Cramped apartments and personal spaces of characters are designed with attention to detail that communicates background and personality. Rumi's room, for example, features a combination of music posters, memorabilia, and subtle supernatural artifacts, hinting at her dual life. The careful placement of props and choice of color palette reflect mood and character state, with warmer tones used for intimate or reflective moments and cooler shades signaling tension or isolation. These choices allow actors to inhabit spaces naturally, enhancing performance authenticity. Studio-built sets, particularly for supernatural confrontations and ritual sequences, are constructed to allow flexibility in camera movement and VFX integration. The Golden Han-Moon ritual chamber is expansive yet intricately detailed, with carved symbols, suspended lights, and layered textures that communicate history and cultural significance. The set dressing incorporates elements of mysticism and ancient design without feeling cluttered, allowing actors to interact with physical props while leaving space for digital enhancements. Practical touches such as smoke, hanging fabrics, and reflective surfaces contribute to depth and atmosphere, making sequences visually striking and immersive. Real locations are used effectively to ground the film in contemporary Seoul. Urban streets, rooftops, and public spaces provide contrast to studio interiors, creating a sense of scale and realism. The choice of locations considers both aesthetic and narrative function. Rooftops offer verticality and visual dynamism for action sequences, while alleyways and narrow passages heighten tension and reinforce the hidden nature of supernatural threats. Location design also integrates lighting possibilities, allowing cinematography to leverage natural and artificial sources for mood and tone. Attention to small details further enhances believability. Posters, graffiti, signage, and set dressing in rehearsal and public areas are carefully chosen to reflect a real urban environment while reinforcing thematic elements. Objects are positioned to suggest previous activity and history, making the world feel inhabited and continuous. Ensemble areas like group dorms or training studios are arranged to highlight relationships between characters and facilitate choreography, blending practicality with narrative utility. Overall, the set design and location choices in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 successfully support atmosphere, mood, and narrative. They create a world where characters' personal and professional lives coexist seamlessly with supernatural elements. The combination of real locations, detailed studio builds, and thoughtful set dressing ensures that environments feel authentic and purposeful, enhancing both visual storytelling and performance. Each choice reinforces character, plot, and thematic resonance, making the world of K-Pop Demon Hunters tangible, immersive, and memorable. The dialogue in K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 is crafted to balance character development, plot progression, and thematic resonance. Across the film, the script alternates between the high-energy banter of K-pop performers and the tension-filled exchanges surrounding supernatural conflict. Conversations during rehearsals or backstage scenes often feel natural and layered, revealing relationships, rivalries, and personal stakes. Quick exchanges between Rumi, Zoey, and Mira convey camaraderie and tension, using informal language that reflects their personalities while advancing subplots about responsibility, performance, and hidden heritage. Key lines frequently carry multiple layers of meaning. For example, when Rumi hesitates before performing a solo, her brief dialogue about pressure and expectation encapsulates both her internal struggle with identity and the external demands of celebrity life. Similarly, antagonistic confrontations with Jinwoo are written to communicate both narrative information and moral stakes. The dialogue often hints at past actions or hidden motives without directly stating them, allowing subtext to carry emotional and thematic weight. These instances show the script's strength in combining functional storytelling with character insight. The script also uses dialogue strategically to drive plot. Exposition is integrated into conversation without feeling forced, such as explanations of the Han-moon ritual or demon abilities woven into group discussions. These passages maintain clarity for the audience while keeping characters active and engaged. At times, humorous exchanges or playful teasing between group members lighten the tension and provide breathing room between action sequences, demonstrating a rhythm that prevents the narrative from becoming emotionally or visually overwhelming. Silence and pauses are used effectively in the script. Moments where characters do not speak, particularly during moments of suspense or internal conflict, allow audience interpretation and highlight nonverbal storytelling. For instance, Rumi's hesitation before activating her power or a lingering glance between Zoey and Mira conveys more than dialogue could, showing that the script intentionally relies on visual cues and actor performance to communicate subtlety. There are occasional moments where dialogue feels slightly on the nose, particularly in exposition-heavy sequences. A few lines that explicitly state character feelings or intentions could have been trimmed or implied through action or visual storytelling. Similarly, minor interactions with secondary characters, such as fans or media personnel, sometimes read as padding, providing context but not always advancing emotional or narrative stakes. These moments are infrequent and do not significantly detract from the overall effectiveness of the script. Overall, the script for KPop Demon Hunters 2025 is balanced and functional, blending character voice, plot mechanics, and thematic subtext. Dialogue feels appropriate to character and situation, using natural language, humor, tension, and subtext to convey multiple layers of meaning. Pauses and silences are used purposefully, emphasizing emotional beats and internal conflict. While a few lines could benefit from trimming or refinement, the majority of the script effectively supports both story and performance, creating a coherent, engaging, and emotionally resonant narrative that complements the film's visual and musical spectacle. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 blends action, supernatural fantasy, and musical drama, creating a hybrid that honors genre expectations while introducing fresh elements. In the action and supernatural aspects, the film adheres to familiar beats such as escalating conflict, visually striking fight sequences, and a clear antagonist in the form of GWI Ma. These sequences satisfy audience expectations for tension, choreography, and stakes, with layered combat that combines martial arts and supernatural powers. The pacing and rhythm of these scenes demonstrate an understanding of genre conventions, ensuring excitement and engagement without sacrificing narrative clarity. The supernatural fantasy elements are executed with attention to lore and internal consistency. The rules governing the Han-moon ritual and demon abilities are introduced early and revisited with stakes that escalate logically. This avoids the common pitfall of arbitrary power shifts and keeps the audience invested in cause and effect. The integration of these elements with real-world settings, such as concert stages and urban environments, adds novelty, situating fantastical events within relatable spaces and giving the hybrid genre a grounded feel. The blending of everyday life with supernatural responsibility is handled in a way that feels organic rather than forced. Musical drama is a distinctive layer that sets this film apart from standard action or fantasy fare. Performance sequences are not merely decorative, they advance character arcs, reinforce themes, and build tension. Choreographed sequences double as storytelling devices, allowing music to express internal conflict and camaraderie. This approach is relatively uncommon in hybrid action films and provides a refreshing take, creating a unique niche where K-pop culture intersects with narrative stakes. Fans of musical storytelling are rewarded, while the action and supernatural audience receives conventional excitement, making the genre blend effective. The film avoids cliches common in hybrid genres, such as overused jump scares, gratuitous love triangles, or deus ex machina resolutions. The antagonist's motivations are rooted in past actions and desire for power rather than shallow revenge, and character arcs are earned through choices and growth. Similarly, the protagonist's teamwork and development avoid predictable formula, with attention to interpersonal dynamics and ethical dilemmas. These choices maintain audience engagement by offering depth beyond standard genre tropes. Some risks are inherent in this hybrid approach. Audiences seeking pure horror may find the film less intense, as suspense is balanced with musical and emotional interludes. Conversely, viewers primarily interested in idol performance may find the supernatural elements complex or darker than expected. The film manages these risks by alternating intensity, providing visual and musical anchors to maintain continuity and coherence across tonal shifts. Overall, KPop Demon Hunters 2025 successfully executes its hybrid genre by balancing action, fantasy, and musical drama. Classic beats of action and supernatural storytelling are present and satisfying, while musical performance is integrated as a narrative tool rather than filler. Clichés are largely avoided, and creative decisions enhance depth and thematic resonance. While tonal blending carries some risk of audience mismatch, careful pacing, consistent world-building, and clear character arcs ensure that the film honors genre expectations while offering innovation, making it an engaging and distinctive hybrid experience. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 provides commentary on contemporary societal and cultural dynamics, particularly within the world of K-pop and celebrity culture. The film explores the tension between public image and private identity, illustrating how performers are often expected to maintain perfection while managing personal struggles. Rumi's dual life as a superstar and a demon hunter reflects the pressures of living up to external expectations while grappling with internal responsibilities. This theme resonates with audiences familiar with the demanding nature of the entertainment industry, highlighting the human cost behind polished performances. The film also touches on issues of gender and agency. Female characters are depicted as skilled, independent, and proactive, subverting traditional tropes where women occupy secondary or passive roles in action or supernatural narratives. Their leadership, teamwork, and moral decision-making position them as central agents of change, emphasizing empowerment and collaboration. By showcasing their abilities across both performance and combat, the film comments on the multifaceted nature of identity, encouraging a recognition of strength, intelligence, and resilience beyond appearance or stereotype. Cultural heritage and respect for tradition emerge as thematic undercurrents. The Hanmoon ritual and the historical lineage of demon hunters are woven into the narrative to highlight the importance of understanding and preserving cultural history. Characters engage with these elements thoughtfully, and the film emphasizes reverence and responsibility rather than exploitation or spectacle. This commentary underscores a balance between modernity and tradition, exploring how individuals navigate the pressures of contemporary life while honoring past legacies. The narrative also addresses the social impact of fame and media scrutiny. Scenes depicting fan interactions, press coverage, and social media commentary illustrate the relentless surveillance that public figures endure. These sequences critique the culture of idolization and the emotional consequences of constant evaluation, inviting viewers to consider the pressures that shape behavior, mental health, and relationships in the entertainment sphere. By linking these pressures to supernatural stakes, the film heightens the stakes metaphorically, reinforcing the human cost of societal expectation. Some commentary is handled with nuance, while other moments are more simplified. For example, themes of corporate manipulation and competitive industry pressures are hinted at but not deeply explored, leaving opportunities for richer discourse unaddressed. Certain comedic or promotional sequences occasionally undercut heavier social themes, balancing accessibility with depth but potentially diluting critical reflection. Overall, the film leans toward raising awareness rather than offering explicit critique, prompting audiences to consider the underlying issues while maintaining entertainment value. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 also touches on universal concepts such as teamwork, trust, and ethical decision-making. These ideas resonate across cultural contexts, making the commentary accessible to both domestic and international audiences. By embedding these messages in character action, dialogue, and narrative stakes rather than overt exposition, the film encourages viewers to reflect organically on social and cultural dynamics. Overall, the social and cultural commentary in KPop Demon Hunters 2025 is thoughtful and timely. It addresses pressures of fame, gender representation, cultural heritage, and societal expectation with sensitivity, balancing depth with accessibility. While some complex issues are simplified, the film prompts productive reflection and enhances engagement, adding layers of meaning beyond the surface spectacle of performance and supernatural action. K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 is designed with multiple layers of audience engagement, blending action, music, and emotional storytelling to create moments that resonate long after viewing. Key sequences elicit strong emotional reactions, such as Rumi's first confrontation with the supernatural, where tension is heightened by sudden demon appearances, dramatic lighting, and rapid pacing. These sequences provoke gasps and suspense, drawing viewers into the stakes immediately. Similarly, the Golden Hanmoon ritual finale combines musical performance with supernatural spectacle, creating a sensory climax that encourages both awe and repeated viewing. Humor is interwoven organically, often emerging from character interactions and backstage dynamics. Banter between Zoey, Mira, and Rumi during rehearsals provides levity while revealing personality traits and group cohesion. These lighter moments allow audiences to connect with the characters on a personal level and create shareable lines or reactions that are likely to be gifted or quoted on social media. The timing of comedic beats against high-stakes action sequences balances tension, making the film emotionally dynamic and appealing to a broad audience. Emotional depth is layered throughout, particularly in moments of vulnerability and personal choice. Rumi's internal struggle with identity and responsibility resonates in quiet scenes where dialogue is minimal but performances convey hesitation, fear, or determination. Similarly, secondary characters experience meaningful arcs, such as Mira confronting self-doubt or Zoey making courageous choices under pressure. These moments encourage empathy, reflection, and discussion about character growth and moral decisions, fostering engagement beyond surface-level spectacle. The film also incorporates signature moments crafted for repeat viewing. Choreographed concert sequences feature subtle visual cues, mirrored gestures, and recurring motifs that reward attentive viewers. Observant fans may notice foreshadowing of supernatural events embedded in these sequences, encouraging discussion and speculation about plot details or character intentions. These design choices enhance rewatchability, as audiences are likely to return to catch nuances missed during initial viewing or to analyze the interplay between music and narrative. Action sequences are another focal point for engagement. Well-choreographed combat scenes, combined with inventive supernatural effects, create visually striking moments that are both entertaining and narratively meaningful. These scenes often feature set pieces or stunts designed to impress, generating excitement and prompting debate about character abilities, strategy, or unseen elements. The seamless integration of practical and digital effects enhances believability, keeping viewers invested in both the narrative and spectacle. Finally, the film encourages discussion through thematic and cultural layers. Questions of identity, responsibility, and teamwork, combined with elements of K-pop culture and supernatural lore, give audiences topics for analysis and debate. Whether fans dissect character arcs, speculate on ritual mechanics, or explore social commentary, these layers extend engagement well beyond the credits. Overall, K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 maintains audience engagement through a combination of suspenseful action, emotionally resonant moments, humor, musical spectacle, and thematic depth. Signature beats, repeat viewing rewards, and shareable sequences ensure the film is memorable, encouraging ongoing discussion, reflection, and excitement among diverse viewers. K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 can be effectively contextualized by comparing it to other hybrid action, supernatural, and musical films, as well as the director's previous work. The film shares DNA with contemporary urban fantasy and action franchises where supernatural threats intersect with everyday life. Elements reminiscent of the Underworld series are apparent, particularly in the portrayal of organized supernatural combat and clear rules governing powers. Like those films, K-Pop Demon Hunters relies on choreographed action sequences and visual effects to convey tension and scale. However, it diverges by integrating musical performance into the narrative, giving it a distinct identity and setting it apart from purely action-focused predecessors. In comparison to musical action films such as Les Miserables or Step Up franchises, K-Pop Demon Hunters maintains high-energy performance sequences but repurposes them as narrative tools rather than purely aesthetic showcases. Dance and music are closely tied to character development and story progression, unlike other musical hybrids where performances often exist as interruptions or entertainment breaks. This integration is a strength, creating a unique selling point and appealing to audiences who enjoy layered storytelling that combines spectacle with plot relevance. The supernatural elements also invite comparison to East Asian horror and fantasy films. Similar to works like The Witch, Part 1, The Subversion or Train to Busan, the film creates tension through layered stakes and moral dilemmas. Unlike those films, which often rely on grounded horror or emotional realism, K-pop Demon Hunters blends fantasy and pop culture in a way that emphasizes visual style and choreography. This blend is innovative, offering a fresh lens on how genre conventions can coexist, though it occasionally sacrifices the intensity of horror moments to maintain musical and action pacing. When compared to the director's prior work, the film demonstrates growth in both technical execution and narrative complexity. Previous projects focused more narrowly on character drama or supernatural spectacle, whereas this film successfully combines multiple layers: interpersonal dynamics, ethical dilemmas, musical performance, and action choreography. However, certain weaknesses appear in tonal consistency, particularly in sequences where comedic or promotional elements interrupt supernatural tension. These moments are less polished than the director's most tightly edited previous works but are mitigated by strong visual and musical cohesion elsewhere. In terms of genre reinvention, K-pop Demon Hunters refreshes familiar formulas by merging K-pop culture with supernatural action in a way rarely seen in mainstream cinema. The concept of idol performers confronting literal demons while navigating personal and professional pressures is both culturally specific and universally relatable. This approach allows the film to borrow narrative beats from action and fantasy while adding originality through performance-based storytelling. Conversely, the film occasionally relies on conventional tropes such as a morally conflicted antagonist or climactic power revelation. These familiar elements are executed competently but do not surpass genre benchmarks established by high-profile predecessors. Visually, the film compares favorably to similar hybrid productions. Its choreography, stage design, and visual effects demonstrate attention to detail and technical polish, matching or exceeding comparable films in energy and spectacle. Music and performance integration elevate it beyond standard action or fantasy fare, creating moments that are memorable and shareable. The synthesis of live action, CGI, and musical performance is particularly effective, highlighting a strength not always present in similar films. Overall, K-pop Demon Hunters 2025 occupies a unique space within genre cinema. It borrows intelligently from action, fantasy, and musical conventions while reinventing familiar structures through cultural specificity and integrated performance. Strengths include technical execution, innovative narrative blending, and engaging musical sequences. Weaknesses, such as occasional tonal inconsistencies and reliance on familiar tropes, are minor compared to its originality and ambition. Comparisons place the film as a noteworthy hybrid that contributes meaningfully to contemporary action fantasy musical storytelling while honoring and challenging expectations set by predecessors. K-pop Demon Hunters 2025 incorporates a variety of visual and narrative symbols that enrich its story and character arcs. One of the most prominent motifs is the use of mirrors and reflections, which appear repeatedly in scenes where characters confront personal dilemmas or dual identities. Rumi is often framed in mirrors when she faces moral choices or questions her responsibilities as both a performer and a demon hunter. The mirrors symbolize self-awareness, internal conflict, and the tension between public persona and private truth. These visual cues are echoed in moments when the camera lingers on reflections in stage lights or puddles, subtly reinforcing the theme of duality throughout the film. Color symbolism is also employed to communicate mood, character state, and thematic resonance. Warm tones such as gold, red, and orange dominate scenes of performance, representing energy, passion, and collective unity. In contrast, cooler shades like blue, green, and muted grays accompany supernatural encounters or moments of doubt, visually signaling danger, isolation, or uncertainty. Specific costume choices reinforce these motifs, with brighter outfits for group performances emphasizing cohesion and darker garments during confrontations with demons highlighting seriousness and internal struggle. Objects carry metaphorical weight in the film as well. The Han Moon ritual artifacts are not only plot devices but also symbolic of heritage, responsibility, and the consequences of power. Their repeated presence reminds characters and viewers of the moral and ethical framework guiding the narrative. Similarly, musical instruments, microphones, and stage props often appear during moments of character reflection, symbolizing the intersection between personal expression and external expectation. The careful placement of these objects within frames allows them to function as silent narrators of theme and character development. Recurring gestures and movements serve as metaphors for emotional and relational dynamics. Choreographed hand gestures during performances mirror the synchronization and trust required in teamwork. The energy emitted in combat sequences is often visually linked to gestures made during performances, creating a metaphorical connection between personal expression and supernatural ability. This linkage suggests that inner harmony and collaboration directly influence effectiveness, both on stage and in battle, emphasizing the thematic interplay of identity, responsibility, and connection. Spatial symbolism is present in set design and location choices. Rooftops, narrow alleys, and hidden corridors frequently appear in pivotal scenes, symbolizing isolation, challenge, and the liminal space between ordinary life and supernatural threat. The contrast between expansive stage areas and confined spaces conveys shifts in control and vulnerability, visually reinforcing the stakes of the narrative. Studio sets, ritual chambers, and urban streets are meticulously designed to echo emotional beats, linking environment to character experience and theme. The film also utilizes unresolved symbols to encourage reflection. Certain recurring motifs, such as subtle lighting patterns, background props, or ambiguous character glances, are left open to interpretation, inviting viewers to speculate about deeper meanings or foreshadow future developments. This approach engages audiences actively, creating layers of meaning beyond the immediate plot. Overall, KPop Demon Hunters 2025 employs mirrors, color palettes, objects, gestures, spatial design, and recurring motifs as symbolic tools to enhance narrative depth. Each element reinforces character arcs, thematic resonance, and emotional tone, often linking performance and supernatural stakes metaphorically. By integrating visual and narrative symbolism throughout the film, it creates a rich, multi-layered experience that rewards careful observation and reflection, making the story more immersive and meaningful. KPop Demon Hunters 2025 exists as a standalone story but draws upon established motifs and themes that suggest potential expansion into a franchise. While it is not a direct sequel, the film contains subtle references and world-building elements that could support continuity in future installments. For instance, the Han Moon ritual and the lineage of demon hunters are introduced in a way that implies a larger historical and cultural framework, offering fertile ground for spin-offs, prequels, or sequels. These references provide context for seasoned viewers while remaining accessible to newcomers, allowing the film to function both as an entry point and as a component of a broader narrative universe. The narrative includes several Easter eggs and callbacks that reward attentive audiences. Small visual cues in set design, such as framed portraits, ritual artifacts, or symbolic stage props, hint at previous unseen events or legendary figures in the demon hunting lineage. Lines of dialogue occasionally reference past achievements or mentors, subtly enriching the world without requiring extensive prior knowledge. These touches create the sense of a lived-in universe and establish continuity rules that could be expanded in sequels or related media. By planting these narrative seeds, the filmmakers signal potential narrative arcs while maintaining the film's integrity as a self-contained story. In terms of timeline placement, the film is grounded in contemporary South Korea, integrating K-pop culture with supernatural lore. The historical context of demon hunting is stylized rather than strictly academic, blending folklore with creative interpretation. Ancient rituals, symbolic artifacts, and lineage references are presented with imaginative liberty, allowing narrative flexibility while maintaining cultural resonance. This approach prioritizes story engagement and visual spectacle over strict historical accuracy, making the film more compelling for general audiences while still respecting thematic roots. The film demonstrates careful attention to internal consistency within its imagined universe. Rules governing supernatural abilities, ritual procedures, and the hierarchy of demon hunters are consistently applied, creating a sense of historical logic within the fictional world. These choices strengthen immersion and allow viewers to speculate about the broader implications of character actions or unresolved plot points. In a potential franchise context, this consistency will be crucial to maintaining continuity across multiple installments. Certain liberties are intentionally taken for dramatic effect. The depiction of supernatural combat, stage integration, and urban environments is stylized, prioritizing visual impact over realism. Historical and cultural elements are simplified or exaggerated to serve narrative and thematic purposes, such as highlighting the contrast between ordinary celebrity life and extraordinary responsibility. These choices support storytelling clarity while creating visually striking sequences that reinforce character arcs and thematic stakes. Overall, KPop Demon Hunters 2025 balances world-building, historical references, and franchise potential. It situates itself within a recognizable contemporary cultural context while introducing fantastical elements that could expand into a larger narrative universe. Callbacks, Easter eggs, and consistent internal rules enrich the story for attentive viewers and provide a foundation for potential sequels. Historical liberties and stylized interpretations enhance visual storytelling and maintain audience engagement without compromising thematic depth. The film's combination of standalone narrative and suggestive continuity positions it as both an engaging single experience and a potential entry point into a broader franchise, allowing for future exploration of characters, lore, and supernatural mythology. K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 demonstrates a careful balance between production budget and on-screen spectacle, giving the impression of a larger-scale production while maintaining financial efficiency. The film's investment is evident in its high-quality visual effects, elaborate stage sequences, and intricate set designs, which rival those of higher-budget international productions. Choreographed combat, musical performances, and supernatural sequences are executed with precision, suggesting that resources were allocated strategically to maximize visual impact. This approach allows the film to appear richer than its actual production budget might imply, emphasizing spectacle and polish without unnecessary extravagance. Costuming, set design, and location choices indicate thoughtful budget management. Costumes for performers are varied, detailed, and reflective of both contemporary fashion and character personalities, creating visual richness. Sets, particularly the Hanmoon ritual chambers and rehearsal spaces, are designed to feel expansive and immersive, but clever use of lighting, props, and camera angles allows the production to achieve this effect economically. Real urban locations in Seoul are leveraged for authenticity and scale, reducing the need for costly CGI backgrounds while enhancing narrative realism. This combination of practical design and selective digital enhancement demonstrates how strategic production decisions can amplify perceived value. Marketing and release strategy also play a critical role in the film's potential box office performance. Promotion leveraging K-pop fanbases, social media engagement, and performance clips builds anticipation and ensures targeted outreach to both domestic and international audiences. Early teaser performances and interactive campaigns create a sense of community around the film, likely boosting opening weekend numbers. Strategic release timing, potentially aligned with holidays or cultural events, further enhances visibility and audience turnout. Marketing emphasizes both action and musical elements, appealing to a broad demographic and enhancing the perceived value of the cinematic experience. Box office returns depend not only on opening weekend but also on sustained audience interest. Word-of-mouth recommendations and social media sharing, particularly around memorable performance sequences and visual spectacles, are likely to extend theatrical run. Secondary revenue streams, such as streaming rights, merchandise, and soundtrack sales, may supplement theatrical earnings, reflecting a holistic approach to monetization. The film's hybrid nature, combining action, fantasy, and musical elements, also encourages repeat viewings, particularly among dedicated fanbases who analyze details, celebrate choreography, and engage with visual and narrative Easter eggs. Indicators of financial success go beyond simple revenue metrics. The film's ability to punch above its weight in terms of production value, audience engagement, and critical response suggests a positive return on investment even if the overall box office falls below blockbuster benchmarks. Efficiency in special effects, strategic location use, and integrated musical performances demonstrate how careful planning allows smaller-budget films to compete visually and narratively with higher-cost productions. These factors can influence both long-term profitability and the viability of potential sequels or franchise expansions. In summary, K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 illustrates a smart balance of budget management, creative production, and marketing strategy. The film appears more expensive than its actual investment due to strategic allocation of resources toward visual spectacle, choreography, and set design. Effective marketing targeting dedicated fan bases and leveraging cultural trends supports strong box office performance. Financial success is likely to be measured not just in opening weekend revenue but in sustained audience engagement, repeat viewings, and ancillary revenue streams. Overall, the film demonstrates that strategic spending and careful planning can create a visually impressive and commercially viable production, allowing it to punch above its financial weight. K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025 is an animated musical urban fantasy film that premiered on June 20, 2025, exclusively on Netflix. Since its release, it has become Netflix's most-watched film of all time, amassing over 236 million views in under 10 weeks. The film follows a K-pop girl group, HUNTR, who lead double lives as demon hunters, combating supernatural threats while navigating the challenges of their music careers. Directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans, the film features a vibrant soundtrack and a diverse voice cast, including Arden on Hyo-seop, and Ken Jeong. For viewers interested in experiencing the film's music and animation in a more interactive way, a special sing-along version was released on Netflix on August 25, 2025. This version allows fans to sing along to the film's chart-topping songs from the comfort of their homes. The sing-along version was preceded by a limited theatrical release on August 23 and 24, 2025, with over 1,000 sold-out screenings across the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. These screenings featured fans attending in cosplay and engaging in themed experiences, highlighting the film's cultural impact and fan engagement. While the theatrical release was limited to a 2-day event, the sing-along version is now available for streaming on Netflix, providing an opportunity for audiences worldwide to enjoy the film's music and visuals in an enhanced format. The availability of both the original and sing-along versions on Netflix ensures that viewers can choose the experience that best suits their preferences, whether it's the original cinematic presentation or the interactive sing-along edition. In addition to streaming, the film's soundtrack has achieved significant commercial success. In Australia, the album topped the ARIA chart, and 6 of its songs dominated the singles chart. In the US, 4 tracks, including the chart-topping song Golden, are in the Billboard Hot 100 Top 10. The soundtrack's success further underscores the film's cultural impact and the popularity of its music. For those interested in a more immersive experience, the film's animation and musical sequences are best appreciated on a large screen with high-quality audio. Watching on a smart TV or a computer with a good sound system can enhance the viewing experience, allowing audiences to fully appreciate the film's vibrant visuals and dynamic music. Additionally, using headphones can provide a more personal and focused experience, especially when watching the sing-along version. Overall, KPop Demon Hunters 2025 is available for streaming exclusively on Netflix, with both the original and sing-along versions accessible to subscribers. The film's success on the platform, coupled with its chart-topping soundtrack and limited theatrical release, highlights its widespread appeal and cultural significance. Whether watching at home on a large screen or with headphones for a more intimate experience, viewers can enjoy the film's unique blend of K-pop culture and supernatural action. The combination of musical energy, supernatural adventure, and compelling animation makes this film a must-watch for fans of action, fantasy, and K-pop worldwide. The viewing experience is best tailored to the audience's preference, with home streaming offering convenience, and high-quality sound and visuals ensuring maximum engagement. If you enjoyed this video and would like us to provide reviews of every kind of movie, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.
Goodbye.